Hello and welcome to Dish Shelved with Adam White. Today I'm going to talk about a detective book. It's called She Shall Have Murder by Delano Ames. Uh, the story is told first person through a character named Jane Hamish, who is a secretary at a legal office. And the whole thing was written convincingly as a woman to the point where I thought this must have been a pseudonym uh, for a woman writer, but it actually was a man that wrote it. And so he did a very convincing job as coming across as a woman character being a male writer. So I thought that was very well done. It was what I would term a cozy mystery. There wasn't a lot of, yes, there's a murder and the investigation of that murder, but it's more of what today would be termed a cozy mystery because it just was very everything was nice in it. No, the murder wasn't obviously, but uh, it just was. It was very low key, but very readable. I got it recently at Pulp Fest, and I'm going to talk about that on a book haul at some point, or I may have already talked about it depending on which order these videos go up. Uh, and I had no idea what I'd get with it. I just kind of picked up things based on what they look like on the cover and what they had written on the back. This one, by the way, has a map of London because it all takes place in London. It has a list of where all the people live and the offices and all that stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool. Um, Let me read you a little bit about it. Uh, a murder mystery story plotted around the characters and situations found in a lawyer's office is being planned by a lively young couple. Then a murder is committed and fiction becomes grim fact. Jane and Dagobert, who proves to be engagingly uninhibited in his methods of detection, soon find a real baffler on their hands. And the deeper they probe into the affairs of the office staff, the more complex, sordid, and exciting the case becomes. Persons in the mystery. Jane Hamish, a pretty young executive in a law firm, is cheerfully nursing her fiancé through his latest hobby, which is making her write a murder mystery inspired by his imaginings and peopled by characters on the staff at her office. Dagobert Brown, an engaging fugitive from gainful employment, is so completely absorbed in the thriller he is cooking up around the staff of Daniel Playfair and Son that he is mildly astonished when the wrong victim actually dies. Mrs. Robjohn, an elderly client in whose mental processes reason plays a small part, is driving the law office crazy with her imaginary fears. A sinister and is driving and constantly changing, they pursue Mrs. Robjohn day and night according to her stories. Major Jimmy Stewart, not to be confused with the actor Jimmy Stewart. Handsome, pompous, young junior partner is always vividly aware of women as such. He has worked his romantic way through the office. Now he is passionately keen on an heiress and her millions. Rosemary Proctor, efficient, attractive chief clerk who says she's 29, can't get over being tossed up in the romantic discard by Jimmy. Sarah Swinburne, typist, the youngest and prettiest girl in the office, lasted just 2.5 lunches with Jimmy. Too much sense of humor. Mr. Playfair, elderly senior partner, treats his staff like members of the family and sighs when work interferes with his crossword puzzles. Oates, the office boy, is 6 feet tall, sophisticated, and unsavory. He has several personalities and leads a double life at least. Douglas Robjohn, Mrs. Robjohn's son and sole heir, lives in Ceylon but is due back soon. Mrs. Robjohn never mentions him, which is remarkable since reticence is not her strong point. Sikorsky, a concert pianist with a past mixed up with Mrs. and Mrs. Rob Johns, thinks he might have children somewhere because these things happen. By Barbara Jennings, Major Stewart's latest conquest is an heiress. She is jealous of the many women in his life. That's the way they break it down in that, and it's a pretty good breakdown. That's the characters. So somebody is the victim and somebody is a killer, but nobody knows who, and you don't know who till the very end. There's things that lead you to believe a certain way, and then clues lead you in a different direction. Uh, you're guessing the whole time, and like I said, it is a cozy mystery, but uh, it's it's very engaging. You really like the character you're following, Jane Hamish, and her boyfriend Dagobert, who are the detectives in this story. They're amateur detectives. When I looked up Delano Ames, I also found out that he wrote over 20 novels, and a lot of them actually featured these two characters as amateur detectives, which I didn't know, and this was the first book. Uh, and so that was a nice thing to happen that I got the first one. I'll probably seek some of the others out, except I'll probably have to get them secondhand like these, because when was this printed? 1949 is when this book was printed. So I don't think his work is probably in print. I haven't checked Kindle yet, but I'm hoping maybe something comes up on it. If not, I'll have to just search used bookstores, because, like I said, I had a real nice selection at Pulp Fest this year, and this was one of them I got. Uh, Very interesting story. Like I said, very convincing. Lots of office gossip between the secretaries, uh, and they all suspect each other, and you never really know. You always get things that lead you to suspect certain people, and then some clues will lead you to several different people. So Jane is writing this novel that is centered around people at her office, and then an actual murder happens. So she starts writing the novel based on the clues and things that her and her boyfriend find. And so she starts writing her book based on an actual mystery. And they're the detectives. And like I said, amateur detectives at this point. They may become official detectives in later episodes of the series. But in this one, they're just kind of, and Dagobert's a very funny character. He's probably the second main character in the book, being her boyfriend, and he just does the strangest things. He's very, what did they describe him on the back as, a screwball detective, which is pretty accurate, because he does things in a really screwy fashion, and you like the way he finds out things even though you think he has no idea what he's doing, because he wasn't really trained as a detective, but you get a real sense that he's got a knack for it, and Jane ends up having a knack for it too, and apparently have more books in the series. But the mystery keeps you going till the very end. Very entertaining book. Lots of, uh, I'm not sure how to put it, but it just goes to show the office politics that come into play, especially when there's a murder involved. And it's really a book about office politics almost, because all the characters in the office and related to the victim are all the suspects too. So, and no one particularly liked the victim, but none of them had a strong desire to see her dead. So uh, you really are kept guessing till the end. Anyway, this is a good book. You'll have to find it secondhand. So sorry about that, but I'm going to have a lot of these coming up on the channel probably. I found a bunch of science fiction and western and detective and crime novels. And so get ready to get your search on, because some of the books I'm going to be talking about are going to be long out of print. So again, She Shall Have Murder by Delano Ames, first in a series of books. I really enjoyed it. I had no idea what I was going to get going into it. It's the first book I read of my haul, and I really enjoyed it though. So I think you might too. Thanks for hanging out with me this week, and I will see you guys next week.